Indeed, miss him deeply, as so many people around the world will. Well, we can't tell you that the memorial service is going to happen Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock local time. It's going to begin with a funeral procession that basically takes Muhammad Ali all the way around Louisville, so the citizens here will have one last chance to say goodbye to the greatest. Well, joining us now to talk more about this and offer some insight into Muhammad Ali, Donald Lassere, the CEO and president of this facility here, the Muhammad Ali Center. Thanks very much for joining us, firstly.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Let's talk just a bit about the international impact that Muhammad Ali had. Visited so many nations, dozens of nations, 3 separate trips to China, had a huge hand in having boxing reinstated in that nation. What are you hearing from the international crowd as they come here this week, and how important was that icon to the world?
Muhammad was very, very important to the world. He be he got on the world stage when he became heavyweight champion, obviously, and he changed the nature of the way people looked at boxers. And so he used his boxing as a global platform to talk about peace, to talk about standing up for what you believe in. And many people around the world, that's what they know Muhammad best for, standing up for his beliefs.
He had a chance to meet so many world leaders, including former Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping, and the impact that he had, that he bridged so many gaps among nations. That's still being talked about, the effect still rippling around the world today.
Right, and it's an amazing thing. What you will find out from international visitors is that Muhammad is a uniter of people. And he's a uniter of people because everybody knows who he is. So you can always start a conversation with someone from Holland, someone from China, someone from Japan, and you mention the name Muhammad Ali, and they know him. And so there you have something in common with that individual. And that's one of the magic things about Muhammad.
It's interesting because in virtually every corner of the world, people are talking about what a great person he was. But there were years in the United States he was vilified for his stance. Once he converted to Islam, he would not be inducted into the army and serve in Vietnam because of his convictions.
Right.
How are people looking back at that time in his life where he was really treated so harshly?
Well, they're looking at it now with a better understanding of what Muhammad was actually doing. Muhammad, while he opposed the Vietnam War, he opposed the Vietnam War for religious reasons. It was a religious stance. He really felt that his religion wouldn't allow him to go and fight people that had never done anything wrong to him. So most people they used to call him a draft dodger. He wasn't a draft dodger. He was willing to die for his belief. He didn't run off to Canada. He stayed here and he fought the fight. It was actually a very courageous thing that he did.
He could have hid behind his stardom if he wanted to do that.
Absolutely. He could have gone and he could have joined the military, and it wasn't like they were going to put a gun in his hand. He probably knew that, but still his conviction and his religious belief led him to make that stand.
Let's talk about this center, because one of the first things you told me, some people think this is a boxing museum, but it's far from that.
It is far from a boxing museum. The museum is built around Muhammad's 6 core principles, and it tells the story of his life from childhood to his battle with Parkinson's till today. And his 6 core principles really undergird the center. And what we do with those 6 core principles is we try to inspire people through Muhammad's journey, through his life, to find their own greatness.
You know, there's so many stories about Muhammad Ali, his connection to this city, throwing his gold medal in the Ohio River. When you think about something like that, he dealt with racism, he dealt with so many things, and he always dealt with it in an unflinching manner.
He absolutely did. Muhammad was a fighter for all people. And here's the thing that I just want to get across. People thought that Muhammad would be bitter about what happened to him regarding the Vietnam War. And there's an interesting story. I watched the interview that he did right after he won a civil rights case. And the interviewer asked him, they said, "Muhammad, aren't you bitter? Aren't you mad at those people that did this to you?" And he said, "Absolutely not. If I were, I'd be a hypocrite."
Do you think that the international public, how did they look at the way the U.S. treated him during those years in the 60s?
Well, in the 60s, I think they thought Muhammad was a civil rights activist. They thought he was a draft dodger, which he wasn't. You know, Muhammad was fighting for human rights. He was fighting for his own individual rights, and he was fighting for the rights of the underserved people here in America, the underprivileged people here in America. And so they took a step back, I'm sure that they viewed Muhammad as many Americans did as a hero.
Donald Lassere, thanks so much for joining us and providing that insight. And his pink house is something that has to be seen to be appreciated.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, cctv-america.com.